Hey Jim, so I want you to notice on the video that you sent me, when you get in position to bend, you start out something like about right here. You start applying pressure, and on all of them there's a steady stream of pressure, and then the nail goes. And when it goes so fast and so completely that it's almost surprising. But if you watch closely what happens to your position when you do that, you're starting out here. See how the nail is probably 3 fingers widths down from my sternal notch. So it's way down, not way down, not like here, but it's down low, and my thumbs are beneath my clavicle. My clavicle's here and my thumb is contacting my chest right here. If you notice what happens when you start in that position, when the nail folds suddenly like that, your hands and the nail shoot up toward underneath your chin. So what that's telling me is you're putting a lot of pressure into the nail, enough to get it to start moving just a little bit at this lower position, and then once that happens, because the nail collapses and your force goes into the center of it, it goes up, but your hands also go up with it, and the higher position closer to underneath the chin and the throat with the nail is a more advantageous leverage point. So you're winding up there anyway, and when you get there, that's the easiest part of the movement. So let's try starting a little bit higher instead of here and putting the pressure on it, then when it goes to bend, letting it slide up that way. Let's extend the neck as much as you can. Bring the bar all the way to where it's touching the throat, and drop the chin down so that the bar is actually hidden under the chin from the angle that you're looking at right now. And what's going on with the back there with the shoulders? So I start out here. When I go into, my hair may be in the way because I'm a hippie. I start out here. When my head goes into extension, my shoulders shrug up. So if I'm in this position to get ready and I drop my chin, I'm going to move the nail and let my arms come down without changing my shoulder angle. Shoulders are way up instead of here. And it took me quite a while to understand and accept that, because I had it rammed into my mind for so long that the lat needs to be contracted, shoulder blades down and back, shoulders packed. That's strong and that's safe. But for bending, it doesn't make sense to do that because you don't get as much leverage. So neck extension, shrug the shoulders up, nail to the chin, or to the throat, to the neck, drop the chin, and then do what you've been doing, and it will probably, when it folds, fold much faster there. You may need to work into it gradually too, in order to maximize your power in that range of motion. The other thing is, I noticed 2 hand positions for you. You hit it here, and then when it gets close together, you go to fingers interlaced. Other 2 positions that may or may not work for you, that may be helpful as we close in on the red, is to switch to let me close this down a little bit more because I'm not there yet. When my hands start running into each other, I will switch to the Kung Fu salute, the old Kung Fu salute. So one hand open and one hand closed, the yin and yang. I lost my wraps on that. And the reason I do that, I don't really need it on the lighter stuff, and you won't either. You're doing fine with what you got. But when stuff gets heavier, like when you get some of the thicker steel that's coming and you're working your way toward the red, you're gonna make a technique change that won't work here or here nearly as well when you're in this sort of 90-degree land right here, where a lot of folks, including myself, traditionally have gotten stuck. So we're going to open up and go here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp, I'm going to put this part of my hand right against my clavicle like we were talking about earlier, with it open, and then the other elbow is going to come up and over, like like that. So it's this sort of action. This actually functions as my vise, and this functions as my leverage driver, and it closes a little bit further that way. Now I'll go to interlaced fingers like you did and do the same thing. And then for the final move, to make sure that the ends are within the 2 inches that you need for any of the certifications, my wrap came undone. These are new wraps, I'm breaking them in, so they're very stiff. Sorry about that. The final move that I do is I will take the nail, and the end of it goes right under my ring finger. The pinky just sort of floats out in space on this, or not floats out in space, but it floats off the end of the nail, and it's still contacting the pad or the wrap, but it's not doing much with the nail itself. The hand positions, just like with the gripper, I'm moving toward this kind of position I would have if I were holding a barbell or doing push-ups on kettlebell handles, doing a bottoms-up press, something like that. So this is what we mean by the gripper close, right? So my hand position's very much like it would be if I were using a heavy-duty gripper. End of the nail is underneath this finger. I'm going to take this part of my wrist, like where my wrist meets my hand, and I'm going to put it against my finger right there. So that's going to transfer force from this wrist into the end of the nail, much more effective. I'm going to squeeze with this hand and at the same time drive against this hand, which is sitting still, locked into place, welded to my chest, however I want to think about that. And it looks like that right there. And we come out with a nice bend. So hopefully all of that makes sense. If you don't get anything else out of that, start playing with that higher bar position, because as the nails get thicker, you're going to need it.